All right, let's jump in. I am very, very excited about today's call because it is a topic that I feel like I have come up with quite a few of my clients recently, and it's also something that I have a lot of personal experience in, and something that I think is not often spoken about enough in the health and wellness and coaching space in general. So, we're going to be talking about energetics, your energetic frequency, and kind of the concept of how you do one thing is how you do everything. And essentially, I feel like when energetics or like frequency is brought up, a lot of us probably roll our eyes and go, oh my gosh, like not that like spiritual stuff, like, oh, like whatever. But this is it's scientifically fact that everything in the world is made up of energy. We all have an energetic frequency, whether it's our beings, whether it's any single object that you can touch, it's science, it's fact, which means that at the same time, everything that we put out into the universe, the energy that we put out, how we show up in the world, it all kind of counteracts and cycles within each other. So we're going to talk about that today. Now, the first thing that I want us to do is I want everyone to let's have a little energy check-in. Chat in the box, just one single word. You could either do it about your entire week or you can do it just about today. Check in with your energy. How are you really feeling today? What's your energy like today? And be completely honest. There's no right or wrong answers. I don't expect everyone to be feeling 100% energetic, like hyped up. We can be on the two ends of the spectrum. One day we're completely hyped, the next day we feel like complete shit. And that is fine. It's life. So, one word in the chat box. How is everyone's energy feeling today slash this week? How are we all doing? Today, hyped. Love that. I have to put effort in to get energy. Some days be like that. You actually have to be like, okay, come on, I've got this today. Let's do it. But yep, yep. Started off high, but had a bigger slump after work. Again, one of those things with energy and our kind of like the way that we go through our separate days can have a massive impact on our energy. And a lot of external factors also come into play when we're talking about energy. This week I'm kind of flat. Love the openness. Love that. Okay. Perfect. Love this. And I love how so many of you have put like today with this because it might change tomorrow. We might wake up and be in a completely different energetic space in a completely different mood tomorrow. And that is so fine. Okay, let's jump in to the slide. So, what what we're wanting to kind of like the truth is basically the way that you do this moment right now, the way that you have shown up to this call, the way that you are choosing to present yourself right now is essentially the same as you choose to approach everything. And that is why energetics matter. How you show up to a workout, how you reply to your coach, me or Bree, how you start your morning, it's the same energy that essentially spills into your goals, your relationships, your career, every other aspect of your life. Yeah, I'm glad that you're going to be obsessed with this call. I love that. I'm obsessed with this call too. So basically, this call is about becoming aware of that and essentially being able to take back control of your own energy in every aspect of your life and having that full understanding that the way that you do one thing, the way that you show up in one area of your life is how you show up everywhere. It seeps into everything. Um, your energy is not just like your vibes, it's not just how you're kind of like feeling, like your mood. It's the intention, the effort, and the frequency that you show up with or that you show up in each day. So, what are energetics? Your energy is essentially your frequency. And as I said, it literally runs your entire life. So, your energetics are the why and the how behind everything that you do. It's essentially the invisible energy that drives your decisions, it drives your habits, and it also drives your results. It's not about the like what you do, it's essentially the who you are being while you are doing it. So you can approach your day with chaos, and that will seep into so many different aspects of your life. Like we've all experienced it. If you wake up in the morning and you're just kind of like running around like a headless chicken and you start your day off with chaos, that seeps into the food choices that you make. It seeps into your work. It seeps into the way that you talk about yourself or to yourself. It seeps into your relationships. So you might kind of think, oh, like it's fine. I'm only messy in my nutrition. I'm only like not organized with my nutrition. But in reality, that same energy that you show up with in your nutrition, I can guarantee it's showing up in other aspects of your life too. It might be that you feel like you're just messy in your nutrition, but it probably also correlates to how you manage your money and how you manage your time, or if you're messy with your emotions. Energetics is essentially this thread that connects, like interconnects all different areas of your life. So once you can kind of have that self-awareness around what energetics is and how it affects every aspect of your life, you can shift your frequency, and that like ripple effect of shifting it hits every other aspect in your life. So you'll start switching your energy in one area, and it will also affect your body, your mind, your relationships, your peace, your contentment in life. It really does affect everything. Sorry, let me just let a couple of more people in. Mm. Okay, there we go. So yeah, it really does have every like choice, every habit, every intention you carry has a ripple effect on the other choices that you then make in your life, whether it be that day or that week. And we really want to think about it like you can't expect to create calm in your life. You know, like a lot of us did a vision board recently, and we were like, we want to create, we're in our peaceful era. We're in our peaceful era. We're calm, we're content, and yet we're like rushing around everywhere. We're like chaotic in our life. We're like trying to grab our meal prep out of the fridge in the morning and then like shove our gym clothes on and then like run out the door because we only have like 10 minutes to get to the gym, because otherwise we're not going to be able to do our workout because then we're going to be too late at work. But we're in our like calm era. It doesn't correlate. Like, you cannot expect to be calm in your life if you are carrying rushed energy through most of those actions that you are taking in the day into every other single part of your day. So the core concept, and this, I heard this like sentence, I guess it's just a sentence. I heard this sentence saying a quote a couple of years ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, that resonates with me so much because it's so true. But the core concept here is how you do one thing is how you do everything. So basically, what we're talking about is this quote is essentially showing you the mirror in your life. Your patterns don't just change between areas of your life, they just repeat themselves. So, we can't, if you procrastinate in your fitness, if you procrastinate and you snooze your alarm, you don't get out for the gym, I can guarantee that that exact same energy shows up in your work. You will also procrastinate at your work. You will also probably procrastinate having conversations in your relationships. You will procrastinate starting something or taking action in your personal growth. The same patterns that you have in one area of your life, they just follow through to other areas too. If you are constantly in that like all or nothing mode with food, you're probably also in the all or nothing mode in other areas. Things like you literally give 1,010% or you're completely checked out. And we've probably all felt that a lot. Like one that we can probably recognize in is relationships. There's so many of us who have that all or nothing mentality with relationships. Like that person does one thing to piss you off and you're all out. But they could do one right thing and then you're like all about them again. And it's this all or nothing. There's no in between. And we could, when we start to kind of like recognize those different the ways that those energies or patterns start showing up, we can probably start kind of like thinking to ourselves even now, oh, yeah, I can see how like this thing that I did, this pattern that I hold in one area of my life, like you can start connecting where it's also showing up in other areas of your life. Another one is if like you avoid discomfort in the gym. So you don't show up with intention to your workouts, you don't push yourself. You're just like in the safety of your workouts, just cruising through, getting them done. You probably avoid hard conversations in your relationship too because you're avoiding discomfort. If you give up the moment that something gets tough in the gym, you probably do that in one more than one area of your life because it's just a pattern that continues throughout all of these different areas. And it's really difficult to break patterns situationally. Like our brain doesn't really even think about that in the moment. Our brains don't go, oh yeah, I can give up on my tough workout, but I'm not going to do that in my relationships. It doesn't separate them. It's just a pattern that just is because that's the energy frequency that you're in at that time. And none of these are like, I'm calling you out in the nicest way, and I've been there and I speak from such personal experience. This is such a powerful thing to be self-aware of rather than it being a shameful thing. Because once you can start seeing these patterns, you have the full power to break them. But a lot of us just don't understand the connection between all of it. We don't even think about how our energy plays a role in all of these other areas of our life. We go into goals thinking, oh, like if I don't achieve this one goal, it's fine. Like that's just one goal. But it's not. It seeps out into everything and it starts to essentially kind of rear its head in all of these other areas in your life. So if we have notepads, you can also write it in the chat if you want to share. But I want you to all be like real honest with yourself right now. From everything that I've just said, what is one pattern that you can notice in yourself that shows up in more than one area of your life? Now, it doesn't have to be a negative pattern, it can be a positive one that you've started building, but I feel like for this exercise, a lot of them are probably going to be more negative patterns, which is so fine because we're just bringing awareness to them. It's not about shaming or guilting ourselves, it's just about growing and recognizing and being self-aware. So, what is one area that you notice yourself, pattern that you've noticed yourself that shows up in more than one area of your life? And also think about where. Like, can you pinpoint exact moments that you're like, oh yeah, I can see how that pattern in this area of my life is also flowing into this area. Like label those the areas that you can see it filtering out. Obviously, the more kind of like detail that we give with this stuff, the easier it is to recognize as well. I know I'm a bit of an all or nothing. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are here. I would say, in general, in health and fitness, women specifically, the all or nothing mentality is one of the biggest hurdles that both me and Brie like work through with the girls. It's a huge one. Having that kind of like perfectionism mindset that we think we have to be giving 110% all the time or it means nothing and we're not going to get results is huge. Yeah, so true. When I look after myself and put time into the gym, oh, and working out, I'm at my best in my relationship and much better partner. 100%. And this also goes into like when you can't pour from an empty cup, when you actually spend time focusing on yourself and what you need, you have so much more to give out to other people. And that's the same with your energetics. When you start focusing on what makes you a better person and what actually makes you a happy and healthy person, you give off that same energy to whoever else is in your circle. If I give myself a day, it'll go over my cows or more slack in general, I'll skip the gym and that will turn into giving up on my goals entirely and I'll start again Monday. Yeah. So again, very much like that all or nothing mentality that you kind of, the like fuck it mentality. And again, that's gonna 100% show up in multiple ways. If there's like a difficult project at work that you have to do and you even like make a simple mistake, you'll just be like, oh fuck it, I can't do it anymore. Yeah, I love this. And I love that we've all shared them as well. That's huge. Very, very brave to like share those things. It's obviously so nice that we all share our wins, but it's so much braver when you can share those things that maybe aren't the best qualities that we have, but we all have them and we're all here to grow. So I love that we've all shared those. Okay, I always lose my mouse. Okay, energy audit. So I feel like this is pretty much in all aspects of life or all aspects of growth, the first step is you actually have to be aware of what's going on in order to actually change it or to start creating an alignment. So we want to think about your your frequency or your energy as a signature, essentially. Or another way to think about it is essentially like your energy is a bank account. So there's certain actions that you will take that deposit into your energy bank account, or there's certain frequencies or energy that essentially leak from your bank account. So we want to talk about doing like an energy audit, because where you leak energy, you're gonna leak results too. You're gonna leak results, you're gonna leak your like essentially your own power. Like you're leaking out your own power to actually be able to achieve stuff. So think about how you show up in these four areas. And again, you can write these down if you have a notepad. There's like, I'm gonna over the next couple of slides, there's going to be like a lot of questions that you can go away and answer, like a lot of like journal prompts and stuff, and things that you can kind of go away and think on as well. So if you do have a notepad, write everything down. But I want you to think about how you show up in these four areas. So work, relationships, health and fitness, and self-care slash rest recovery. So as we were saying, like the energy that you bring into one of these areas, and I list these four areas because they're for most of us what majority of our life spreads across. Like our work, our job is like 80% of where we spend our time. So it's so important, the energy that we're bringing there, the frequency that we're having there often is the thing that leaks into other aspects of our life, especially when we're talking about work stresses. If we don't essentially manage the energy that we're giving to our work stresses, that is one of the main areas that people find their energy leaks into other things. Your work stresses start affecting your relationship because you don't know how to manage them, which then starts affecting your fitness because you don't feel like you can show up in your fitness because you've got too much stress from work. So they all kind of link together. But because we spend so much of our times at our jobs, I would say that's probably for most people the biggest like energy leak or leaker is from around like jobs or career and performance there. So if you let's use another example. So like if you abandon yourself every time life gets busy, that's definitely not just happening in one aspect of your life. That's essentially well, we call it like an energy default. If you have certain patterns that you feel like you're showing up energetically in multiple areas of your life, it just means that that's what your energetic default is right now. So if you get too busy and you're like, fuck it, can't do it, that's your energy default. If you have the all or nothing mindset, that's currently your energy default. If you're like me, my personal experience with like energy leaks was I was the world's biggest people pleaser for years of my life. And it did not serve me in any way, shape, or form. But from like a child up until probably like 5 or 6 years ago, I would say, world's biggest people pleaser. And it literally leaked into every single aspect of my life. I was a people pleaser in my friendships, and that's where I recognized it most. I just let people walk all over me for years. But then it started filtering out into my job because then I just didn't have the boundaries or set the standards for myself that people in my workplace also couldn't do that. And then the same thing goes for romantic relationships. And then the same thing also lent out into my fitness in like the smallest ways that you don't even think of. I then was such a people pleaser that I wouldn't ask people for equipment. I just stand in the corner and be too nervous to ask for equipment or to use equipment. And it generally does just kind of like spiral into all of those other things. So I want you to also write down this question. Where can you notice that you are showing up half present, or you're doing things essentially out of guilt or out of punishment instead of out of positive energy? Because that's a huge one as well. When we can kind of recognize that actually we are leading from a place of fear or out of guilt or punishment rather than being from a place of like gratitude and abundance, that is a huge energy difference. So, where can you notice that you are showing up half present, and where are you doing things out of guilt and punishment instead of love and abundance? This is such like a powerful exercise to do like multiple times throughout the year as well, like quarterly. Just check in with yourself and just see, like, audit your energy. Where do you think you are showing up with avoidant, chaotic, inconsistent energy, or where are you showing up with grounded, intentional energy? Check in with yourself, like make sure that you are actually showing up in more areas of your life with that grounded, intentional energy and focusing on those areas like where going, okay, checking in with yourself and going, okay, where am I avoidant and chaotic and how can I change that? Or where am I actually showing up grounded and intentional and how can I pull that energy also into other aspects of my life? Okay, so pattern recognition. Your life in general very much leaves you clues for the way that you are showing up or the way that your energy is presenting itself. So we want to be looking for, as we've spoken about, the patterns that are showing up, the way that you react to discomfort or challenge is energetically consistent, right? So if you finding yourself stuck, burnt out, starting over and over and over, that's a pattern underneath. If you overcommit to people and you undercommit to yourself, that's a pattern of self-abandonment and it will start showing up in other areas. So we want to just kind of like go through our life essentially looking for those patterns and being able to recognize where they're coming up. Another one is like a huge one. If you feel like, or you know, or you can recognize that you need external validation for things, that often shows up in our food choices. Like I've been good or bad, like labeling foods as good and bad. You're giving the food all of the power. You're needing external validation by thinking, I need to be good. I have to eat clean all the time. It then goes in, obviously, external validation is a huge one in relationships then. And you can notice the pattern that you need external validation from your partner in order to feel good. And then that will also leak into things like how you actually speak about yourself, how often you need compliments or feedback from other people that you are doing well, rather than just being able to give that to yourself. Um, so awareness is 100% power when it comes to pattern recognition, because once you see your patterns, you can't unsee them. Like I tell you, as soon as you recognize and as soon as you get off this call, I guarantee all of you are going to be walking through your days being like, oh, oh yeah, I just noticed that that's a pattern that I energetically have just filtered out into all of these other areas of my life. Like, oh, people are still coming in. I'm just letting more people in. Um, but yes, your life 100% leaves clues everywhere in terms of these patterns that filter out into all of these different aspects of your life. Your life basically always mirrors the energy that you are putting into it. And one thing that is huge when it comes to energy and attraction is you don't attract what you want or what you say, you attract what you are. You attract what you actually put out into the universe. You attract how you show up, the actions that you take, and the energy that you put in to those actions. We could give two people the exact same meals. We could give them the exact same training program, tell them to do the exact same habits. But if one of them goes into it energetically hyped from a place of gratitude, from a place of abundance, from a place of, yeah, I get to do this because I want to be the best version of myself, they are going to get completely different results to a person doing the same program, but coming in with it as from a place of hatred, from a place of, oh, I should do this. Like I have to do this from a place of punishment for their body. Those two people will be doing the exact same things, but they will get completely different results and they will feel completely different from it, purely from an energetics perspective. Because of the energy that they are putting out, the results that they will attract back in will be hugely different. And that goes for every way that you show up in life. That is true. You always have a choice of how energetically you're going to show up. You can show up in a positive way from abundance, or you can show up in a negative mindset and negative frequency coming from a place of like hatred or punishment or guilt. And you're going to feel completely different walking into those two situations and taking those two actions, even if it's the exact same thing, if that makes sense. And we can also definitely all recognize this in like the simplest of forms. Like we have all had days that we've just woken up in a bad mood. Like we've literally rolled out of the bed on the wrong side of the bed and we're just grumpy for absolutely no reason sometimes. And it happens. We're human. But there's two decisions that you essentially have to make at the start of that day. And whether you make the decision to go, actually, I'm grumpy, like, is what it is. I'm grumpy, but I'm not going to let it ruin my day. I'm going to pick myself up. I'm going to play my favorite song. I'm going to have a dance party. I'm going to drink my coffee. I'm going to go and do my workout. I'm going to smash it. I'm going to use my grumpy energy to lift heavier in the gym. That person is going to have a way better day than the person who wakes up and goes, oh, I'm grumpy. What's even the point of today? Like, what is even the point of showing up? Like, I'm just going to carry this grumpy energy through every other aspect of my life. My work's probably going to feel like shit. Someone at my work's probably going to annoy me today. They're going to piss me off just because that's the mood that I'm in. Those two people are going to have very different days, and the outcome of their day is going to be very different. And it's purely based on the energetics that they decided to put out for that day, if that makes sense. Okay, let's all right. So some more little journal prompt questions for you slash homework questions. Where do I notice myself cutting corners? And this is a huge one energetically because in those moments that again, you avoid doing the hard work, you choose the easy option all the time, or you feed into those emotions or the energy of like, oh, can't be bothered. I'm coming flat. I just can't be bothered today. Where are you cutting corners that are essentially holding you back from an energetic perspective? The second one is what situations make me feel off. That's another thing that we will all like recognize as well. We, especially as women, have the best instincts, the best gut instincts, and the best energy tellers. We can be in situations and just feel that something is not right, that something is wrong. It's just not it. We can walk into a room and be like, no, this is not the place for me. That's all energy. That's all frequency, either from other people, the situation, or yourself. So have a think about situations in your life. Yeah, that's what I was about to say, actually. Your general life, the people that you surround yourself with, your home environment, your work situations. What situations can you kind of notice or pick up that you just feel off? Because again, self-awareness is the biggest part in this. When you can be aware of the moments that you feel like that, then you have kind of the power to be able to make those changes and to like change those patterns. And then the third one is, what am I over giving or over controlling? So another big one is that we obviously a lot of the time speak about discipline. However, when it comes to energy, the problem often isn't discipline, it's an energy problem. You are just running on old patterns that don't match the version of yourself that you are trying to become. You are trying to over control situations. You are trying to give energy to the wrong things, to old habits. You're falling into old patterns rather than focusing on what the energy or what the frequency of that future version of you that you are trying to become. So very important questions to ask yourself there, and I hope everyone had time to write them down. Okay. Shift the frequency, change the results. So as I was just saying, you absolutely do not need a new plan. You do not need new steps. You do not need new habits. You do not need someone else to tell you new information. You just need a new energy behind it. So energetic alignment essentially just means that your actions and your intentions are finally matching up. They are finally together and actually working together rather than you saying that you want one thing. You have specific goals written out, but the energy that you put in behind it or the intention that you put in behind it is saying a completely different thing. So if your intention is growth, but your actions are coming from a place of fear, that's misaligned energy. If your goal is health, but your energy is coming from a self-punishment, guilting yourself place, that's misaligned energy. So when you shift the energy behind your actual actions, everything changes. The gym becomes a place of self-respect rather than a place of punishment. Meal prep, for example, becomes about actually having self-care and caring about how you're nourishing your body rather than it being about control or restriction. And rest becomes power. It becomes something that you can actually utilize to gain more energy rather than feeling from a place of guilt or feeling that you just need to be productive all the time, that resting is not something that you need. So when we can kind of think about changing the energy behind your actions rather than just thinking, oh, I need a new plan. This is not working for me. It's basically about alignment isn't about doing more. It's just about doing things from the right place, from the right intentions with the right energy, and actually actively thinking about that before you take the action. So literally things like I have to train because I hate my body switches into I get to move my body because I respect it. The energetics and the frequency that you are putting out from those two sentences is completely different. Completely different. And when we kind of shift the frequency of your energy, this is where the results that you get actually start to feel effortless because you are no longer trying to force things from often quite a negative space. You are just flowing. And I know that sounds like really like woo woo, like you're just flowing through life. Like obviously we still have to put hard work, we still have to put effort in, but when we are actually in alignment with our energy, what we're putting out, everything, because all these patterns cross over every single aspect of your life, everything does just feel so much easier because you're not forcing things. You're not in one area of your life trying really hard, thinking that you're doing all of the right things, but then this energy is leaking out into other areas and it's just kind of like chaotic. And you're like, well, I feel like I'm doing all the right things, but nothing's going to plan. Whereas when we can like recognize those patterns and actually be like, where is the energy that I am saying that I want to have not aligning to my actual actions, we can start aligning everything and then literally it just feels effortless. Like it really just does. And obviously it's a lot easier for me to say that than it is to be done. And it takes some work to rewire these patterns. But this call is literally just about bringing self-awareness to the fact that how you do one thing is how you do everything. And in order to change that, you need to recognize what your patterns are and where they're seeping out into other aspects of your life. And essentially just be able to take responsibility for that and be like, is this working for me? Is it not working for me? Am I actually happy with the energy that I am putting out? And is the energy that I'm putting out reflecting back to me in the lifestyle that I am here to build? Um, I think, is that everything from me? I can't even remember. No, we have a whole nother one. I thought that was the final slide. Okay, so integration practice. I will speed up though because I feel like I've been yapping a lot and I don't even know. I feel like the Zoom's just going to cut off in a second. Um, so anchor it in daily. I feel like I actually just yapped about what is on this slide anyway, so I'm probably just going to repeat the same things. But basically, you want to be doing this as a practice. Like as anything in life, we need to put things into practice and take daily action for them to become a natural habit for us. We can't just expect to like sit on this one call and then everything just be fixed. Our energy is just fixed. We're in clear energy. We're putting out a right frequency. You have to take action behind it. So anchor into it daily. Set energetic intentions to start the day. Just like you would go and like write a to-do list of all of the things that you have to tick off, start your day by setting an intention of how you want to energetically show up. Are you showing up out of abundance? Are you showing up out of love, out of respect? Set that intention from the start of your day and then just lead with that energy. You want to ask yourself, who am I being whilst I'm doing this stuff? Are you being someone that complains about every moment, that is coming from an ungrateful perspective, that is coming from an unabundant or lack mindset while you're actually doing things? Or in the moment while you're taking these actions, are you coming from a grateful place? Are you coming from an abundant place? Are you coming from a hyped, energetic place? And this isn't to say like we have to go into everything like, woo, yes, so happy to be here all the time. Like that's also not realistic, right? We're humans. We can't have that hyped energy, but it's more just about setting that intention and being like, I am here to show up as the person that I want to become, and I am going to do that today. Okay. What is one thing that you can do today with full presence? This is the other thing with energetics is being present in the moment is so important to actually understand the energy that you're bringing to something. If we're like half-ass moving through things, it's very difficult to even know what we're doing. It's very difficult for the universe to even understand what we're trying to ask for. If we're just like half-assed, just kind of like, oh yeah, we'll just like cruise through it, like it is what it is. You're putting in half amount of effort, you're probably going to get half amount of results back. So focusing on and even asking yourself each day, what's one thing that you can do today with absolute full presence? No distractions, nothing else, just fully present in the moment and appreciating what you're doing and putting the action into that one thing. Okay, now that was the last slide. So now, does anyone have any questions? I know I've like spouted a whole heap of information at you, and it's one of those things that definitely takes some kind of like thinking into having some self-awareness and kind of like knowing throughout your daily life, being able to recognize these patterns. I'm like just gonna tell I was it was legit like a switch Victoria one day and then promise. Yeah, 100%. It literally is. And then you look back and you're like, oh, I was so stupid. Why have I not been doing this all the time?
And like it happened probably like 12 weeks before I went to Europe. And I don't know what happened, but it
Yeah,
literally was just a switch flipped.
yeah,
And my entire mentality changed. I was genuinely a happier person. I had nothing negative to say, nothing negative to do. I loved going to the gym. I loved going to work. I loved everything about my life.
yeah,
And then like the worst part is I saw all these results, which was amazing, but then I went to Europe and I was so stressed about um like losing it and
yeah.
not the results,